My website showing up as high as it could or as I want it to in Google search results? If yours is not, you might be making common mistakes that everybody seems to be making around SEO in 2020. Let's talk about what those are today in this episode and help you correct those so that you can show up when your key target user types keywords into Google and they find you first. You want that to happen? Here's what you need to do. That is coming up. Welcome to the Bite Size Marketing Hack Podcast, where you get the confidence to hack your marketing 5 minutes at a time. Hey guys, welcome to Bite Size Marketing Hacks. My name is Mark, and it's great to be with you. And I realize that we live in an era and perhaps in a year where there is more uncertainty than we felt in some time. And if you're feeling this, and if you're struggling to navigate through this as your business, that's what we're here for in Bite Size Marketing Hacks, to give you a leg up so that maybe everybody else feels lost, but you're going to know what to do in 2020 to navigate that uncertainty. And one of the areas that you need to be leaning into is that of search engine optimization, SEO. And so in today's episode, we're going to look at SEO and specifically talk about the most common mistakes that affect your score on SEO on your website, and what you can do about those in 2020. So there's different kinds of mistakes. There's critical errors, warnings, and notices. We'll look at each of these. So a critical error is going to dramatically impact your SEO performance. You're not going to be ranked as high on Google. So let's look at the most common mistakes that maybe if you're building your own website or if you have somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, these mistakes tend to crop up. So critical errors that are going to really affect. Number one, missing title. So as you create pages on a website, you put a title into, if you're using WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, whatever platform you might be using to build that, or if you have somebody building it from scratch, every web page has a title. What this does is when somebody types keywords into a search engine, they're going to connect with your website if Google evaluates your website and says this website is going to answer this person's question, or it's going to give them the information that they're looking for. The way that Google does that is they're looking to see on your website and on its content, do the titles match up with what this person is searching for? So if you don't have a title, they can't do that. Another thing that they look to is H1 tags. So that stands for heading. So when you create pages on your site, you're going to break up that text with different headers. So that's where you see larger sized font or text. That's called a header. And if you don't have those on your website and it's not clear and you don't have good keywords in there, then you're not going to also rank well for Google and their analytics and for their algorithm to find your site when people type in those keywords. So make sure that you have good headers. Finally, and the critical mistakes is missing description. So every page that you create on your website is going to have a description attached to it. This is where it's going to describe what content this page is about. And again, this is very important to Google when they're ranking your site for how accurate it is in giving that user the information or answering the question that they are asking when they type into Google search results. So missing title, missing H1, missing description. All right, so let's talk about warnings. So these stack up over time, and it's going to put you farther down in your search results, the warnings. So the top one for a popular mistake is H1 duplicates. So you might have headers on your page, but if you have duplicates of those headers, that confuses the algorithm in Google, and it's just going to push your site down in rankings. Make sure you don't duplicate your headers. Simple, but a lot of people do it. Finally, a notice, and notices are recommendations to follow, and so they don't have as much impact on SEO performance, but they're important to be aware of. They're going to improve overall user experience and SEO over time. So if title is too short, so if your titles on your pages are too short, this is going to affect how much traffic you're going to get, because longer titles that are more descriptive of what the content is going to be more effective to getting the click. So make sure that your title is not too short and is actually descriptive of what is happening on that page and what your page is about. So here's an interesting note along with that. So this study analyzed genericdomains.com, .org, .net to better understand results, and their research showed that .com domains have a more than 50% of critical SEO errors, when .net domains have only 3% of such errors. So for whatever reason, those that have the .com domains tend to be users. Maybe it's because it's an older site and they're not keeping up with SEO changes and trends, but they don't have all of these updated changes to their site to better rank for SEO. So if you have a .com site, worth taking these things into consideration for your business. So technical errors. Let's look at a couple more of these categories. We could go all through. There's a lot of stats here that's very helpful, but we'll look at a couple more. So technical errors, errors with status codes. And so these are called HTTP errors, and they can be a huge frustration to website visitors. And so you might have seen the 404 error. So 4XX just stands for for something something error, and this will redirect to this page where it says this is not found, or these kinds of things. And so if these happen, it means that your website visitors are going to be frustrated by this and might click away. But it also is an indicator that your site isn't high quality, and it might lower your site rankings overall if you have a 404 error, 4 something something, or 5 something something error, which is a lot less errors. But if you have some of those 404 errors or whatever where something's missing on the site, when somebody types into search on your site and they can't find it, then you've got a problem. If you don't know if you have those errors, then that's an indicator that you probably are not super dialed into the state of your SEO and your site, and you might want to start right there. Okay, so let's look at a couple others here. Let's see. On-page SEO errors with meta tags. So meta tags aren't a magical solution, but they will ensure your website appears on the search engine database. So meta tags are snippets of code that tell search engines important information about your web page and give users more context on what to expect when visiting the link. So make sure that you are giving all of these tags the attention that you need to give to make sure that your page is up to date. So we're talking about this is what we just talked about earlier. H1 duplicates, so header duplicates, title duplicates, description duplicates. If you've got multiple descriptions for pages that are the same, that's going to be problematic. If your title is too long, if your title is too short, you want it to be just the right length. These are also going to affect your SEO. If your description is too long of your page, more is not better. So you might say, hey, I want to rank better. I'm just going to put as many keywords into that description as I can. Not actually most effective. You want to make sure it's the right thing, because again, Google is trying to connect their users with what they're looking for. So if your description is too long or too short, that's not effective. If your, let's see, description, if your description is a title and are the same thing, then that can also be problematic. So less common thing to happen, but that could also happen. Let's see if there's anything else to highlight here. So redirects, that's a big problem that can oftentimes can slow down your site, and indexing. Basically, that's another thing that's listed here. If your site takes a long time to load, and it's taking a long time for somebody to get to the actual content of your site, or the images to load, all of that affects SEO as well. Google is evaluating how fast your site loads and how fast people can get to the content, or they click away because they didn't actually get to the content in time. So these are some common mistakes that people make in their search engine optimization. If all of that feels overwhelming to you, you can rewatch this episode, and I think you'll be able to grab a hold of some nuggets there. But at the end of the day, if all of that feels overwhelming to you, that is something that we love to do, is to help people tackle their SEO so that they can rank well in 2020. Definitely tackle your social media marketing, but at the same time, if you don't have a landing page for your brand that you own, you don't own social media, you own the place where your brand lives on your website, and if that's not ranking well on Google, then you are missing out on traffic for your business. So let us help you. It's one of the things we love to do, and you can find out more information about our SEO services, frontiercreative.co, and we would love to tackle this for you, or at least consult you so that you can get a leg up on your competition, build an SEO strategy, and increase the profile of your business over time and your organic reach through Google. So That's it for today. And invite you to subscribe to the podcast. We are on every podcast platform that you can think of. Probably not everyone, most of them. Check it out and give us a rating, a review, and leave a comment in the description on the podcast platforms or on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you, what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to hear from us. And we will talk to you again soon. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. And visit us at bitesizemarketinghacks.com for more resources and episodes that will help